A couple technical difficulties later. I believe we were heard on the map screen, but other than that, we should be back live. Apologies for the technical issues to open up the stream. TLDR, round two teams that just came out 3-0 and are looking to continue their run. I'm Time to Light. Joined alongside me here is HP Bowsy for our SMELVIN Industries versus AFMT. And I gotta say, Mariana Trench, favorite wonder of the world that I think I'll never be able to see.
Indeed, it definitely is a wonder of the world that not many people will be able to experience. Nonetheless, both of these teams looking to try to make their way into the next round of this bracket stage here, and it's all on the line. One of these teams is going to be losing their first match since that regular season, and I believe since the first match of the season, or at least back up to week 4. So we'll have to see, as we're going to be heading into our first map here, with Nepal being the first map in the order as we head into the map. And we're already getting a look at the two compositions on screen here. Time to Light. And there are already some interesting comps we're seeing from both sides.
So AFMT bringing in an Echo here. I like it. You're running that alongside a Winston. Your dive should look pretty good. I saw this yesterday. It's not absurd. On the other side, D.Va alongside the Sojourn Tracer combo. But a Moira versus what looks like a tentative Mercy. Never mind. An other Moira. Okay, no, a Kiriko. There we go. And there's a Wrecking Ball. Yep. That's not the tank I thought I was going to say.
Nope, AFMT are also going to be running out on this sort of dive composition. The only difference of it is that they don't have really a dive DPS. They have this Ashe instead. A very interesting sort of pick, but the Dynamite can provide a lot of damage into your backline. And can also make it so that you can have that 20% damage reduction that the new patch has brought. And you can also just do that to a Tracer.
NRG just one-tapped Mori to the face and then punched them in the face. That is the most disrespectful thing I have seen done close range to a Tracer by a sniper-based hero in Overwatch. Ever. Overwatch 1, Overwatch 2, don't care. I haven't even seen a Widow just walk around the corner and one-tap somebody like that and then melee in the face. Sure. Well, that's a great start. AFMT now need to fully disengage. Dink's lucky to be alive right now. They want to re-engage, but on 150 HP, are they going to be able to do so safely? Yes. They do pop that collection before slamming down, but it doesn't look like to be consequential.
Yeah, if the AFMT able to actually keep the point in their favor here, SMELVIN are the ones trying to get into this, and it looks like they want to try to focus down this Wrecking Ball and get into the back line right now. Arda on this D.Va, however, has been using a lot of that defense matrix to keep themselves and the team alive, so it's a very tough task, and AFMT are just running around them in circles right now.
It's a game of ring around the rosy, and mostly off the point. I'd be very surprised if SMELVIN Industries even get an opportunity to get on the point safely. They were for about, I don't know, 4 seconds while Arda was alone. But Robbie on low HP, they don't have any help as of right now. And more importantly, they're having some massive difficulties getting out safely. Pulse Bomb misses, great slide away. But Azaza still in the back line and safely just screwing with SMELVIN. And it's working.
Yeah, definitely. And AFMT do give up the point here. SMELVIN Industries get their way in, and they also have that coalescence from Seb to keep themselves stabilized and also get that late kill into NRG. So SMELVIN Industries seem to start getting themselves stabilized, being able to make the moves that they need to, and now they're starting to count out the percentage. Question is, how long can they hold on to it now that AFMT are coming out to some of these crucial ultimates? But they're also trying to get out of the fight as well, so there is an opportunity to keep this point under control for quite a bit longer.
Yeah, Ricky just ends up getting taken care of. I don't know if they fell off the map or what happened there, but that's a reset they're not going to be a particular big fan of. They will have rushed sometime soon, but with the call used by Seb, it's a little bit of a lead in terms of ultimates for SMELVIN. They lose Mori, though. Say goodbye to your Tracer as the duel of doppelgangers goes the way of AFMT, and a second one now picked up by Akaza. This is just looking so much better and in favor of AFMT. They'll demech the D.Va, who will try and pop the explosion and keep themselves conserved for the time being. They'll be unsuccessful. NRG finds 3 from up high. And AFMT, they don't even let SMELVIN get the 50%, even though they lose 2.5 fights. They'll recap.
Yeah, definitely. NRG taking that off angle, being able to take it on that approach from the other side of the point, being able to get those 3 headshots was crucial for AFMT's success. They want to try to distract. Obviously, this Ashe is not as mobile as the rest of the team, so the Ashe wants to be on a far angle, try to set up these sort of kills. But you can also have Akaza just go in and get Robbie before SMELVIN even push into the objective.
Robbie had no chance there. I'm sorry. It just wasn't going to happen in their favor. And now with basically everything going the way of this AFMT defense, they have to wait for Robbie to rejoin. There are 3 ultimates plus maybe your Cole sometime soon. But look at the check marks on AFMT. Akaza's going hunting for Mori, who's already low HP. The healing station just taken away, and the rush is indeed used. Sound barrier for AFMT, trying to keep them in it, but there goes that pulse bomb. Bob finds the mech of Arda. This is a done deal. First round will go AFMT's way. A team kill to close it, and they'll take first point of Nepal.
Yeah, definitely. It seemed like AFMT were much more structured in their sort of organization and also keeping the rest of the team alive. I talked about how energy was a very crucial point and the really only least mobile target of the team. AFMT were able to keep that Ash alive for basically the majority of that fight and be able to take advantage of the fact that SMELVIN Industries were trying to take down that Ash or just not focus on the right target at the end of the day. So really good play there from AFMT. But now we head over to the Shrine here, which has a very different map style compared to the Sanctuary. Not wholly different, but still can allow for multiple different compositions. And we're seeing that with SMELVIN Industries. They want to try to go over to this Ramatra Brawl composition, though AFMT are sticking on this Wrecking Ball dive composition, so we'll see which team is going to get the better out here, as the Cosmos is probably going to be teleporting the team out and switching back over to that Tracer.
Both teams do the exact same thing. It is the Sim TP swap to the Tracer immediately thereafter. Dink's back on the Wrecking Ball, going for a flank of it. But honestly, you don't find all that much that's of consequence to SMELVIN. This is a good start for them. They've got most of the map control they're looking for. You can find the Wrecking Ball here in a great spot. I love the usage of the Vortex, but how much does it find? Already the Nemesis form is forced out. They were on maybe 100 HP if they were lucky at that juncture. But Dinks was low, so too was Arda. SMELVIN Industries, yes, they have the control of the point right now. By no means are they walking away with full capped pressure, and Robbie's the first one to fall. Could not be more disastrous. It's, again, NRG being a nuisance on a distant angle. Luckily, Arda takes care of both too, but Arda's now alone, and they're not going to live through this. No matter how many Nemesis forms they have, they'll be taken care of, and AFMT will actually be the ones to cap first.
Yeah, really, and then Nemesis form, if you're blocking, all you're doing is delaying the inevitable there for the Ramatra. Yeah. But SMELVIN Industries right now, on this sort of brawl composition, it seemed like they were a bit staggered. They weren't really together. A brawl composition wants to be grouped up together, but with AFMT using this Wrecking Ball, just plowing into the enemy team, you're basically separating that brawl composition and allowing for the rest of the members to just pick it apart one by one. So now we're going to see an Arda go back over to the Diva. We saw this on the Sanctum, but Dinks, meanwhile, is just sitting here and claiming value, basically doing nothing for free.
It's a free position. They'll take full advantage of it. Arda somehow wins the fight onto Energy, and I don't know how Robbie nor either Bance died, but they both end up falling to a very well-placed pulse bomb. Yes, it didn't get stuck, but Akaza finds two of their own. Wait, that was the same one. I got tripped up. Unnamed. SMELVIN Industries, it seems like they will indeed lose this. I'm not colorblind, but sometimes it feels like
it's alright. At the end of the day, those SMELVIN Industries, as you mentioned, will have to reset. But that is a very good late kill from Mori onto Ricky, which means that Jost is the only support left in the fight. And as a result, AFMT are having to retreat a little bit. Thinks he's going to come in with the minefield, but still, SMELVIN now have control over this point, taking away from AFMT. And now that NRG's gone, SMELVIN seem like they're going to be holding this point for a lot longer.
They've got a little bit more space. Mori expends, I'm going to say, not an unnecessary pulse bomb, but something they probably could have held on to. Energy would have had to win a 1v1 close range, which, in all fairness, we've seen them do before. They're very good on the Ash, but it was just a fight that probably could have saved that for later. You will get up past 25-30%. You're probably going to lock in 40 plus at this point, but do you go into the same point you were in the previous round where you just get to about 50 and then lose everything thereafter? Great using the sound barrier, direct counter to the coalescence, but a sound barrier out for AFMT, and Jote is the first one to fall. Robbie Hash somehow gets absolutely hunted down. Look at the assists. All 5 members of AFMT get involved in that kill. But how much does Energy do from yet another off angle? They'll snipe down Mori, but can they do anything more? That's the real question. Will they live through this? That's the other. Doesn't seem like they have all that much help to do so, but in the process, Dinks has thrown off Arda. They'll be demeched and use the explosion to try and get out of this, hide inside of their own mech while trying to do so again, and they'll get inside safely at that same juncture. While all of this is going on, SMELVIN Industries retains control of the point, and their Diva is right back into the fight, but it has been a chaotic duel to understate the obvious, and a absolutely whiffed pulse bomb will make sure AFMT, they won't capture as easily, but it seems like they will finally get control for a calendar year-long battle.
Yeah, definitely. SMELVIN Industries just being able to keep stalling out this point one by one, but at the end of the day, that stall will be coming to an end. It just was a really good setup there from SMELVIN Industries to keep that stalled out, but really, it seemed to crumple a lot because whenever Arda was diving in, the rest of AFMT were keeping the rest of the team away from Arda and making it so the SMELVIN Industries had to make a decision. Either go with your Diva or try to hold the point. At the end of the day, they kind of chose a little poorly at the end of the day, but nonetheless, now SMELVIN Industries have thrust in the last fight territory if they're able to retake this, but they have to survive this minefield from Dinks and get to the point before they're able to do that.
Minefield goes high ground. The only ult anywhere near online for AFMT is the sound barrier, while Vance, they used it the exact same time. They're on 40% and they're dead. I don't even know if they're going to be able to get near the point, much less contested on this one. You do see Mori kind of occupying it, again being a nuisance in the backline. But how much are they going to do with it? That's the real question. They're basically out of cooldowns. They're isolated around the pillar on the far side of the site. And now they just have to try and jump in. How long will the D.Va last? That's the real question. Benefit of having the mech, they'll last a little while longer. The overclock dedicated here for Robbie. They're the only one that's able to currently press Q. And Arda getting that mech back online. They pick up Akaza. Coalescence used as well. The sound barrier only catches 3. And Joe is again hunted down after using it. NRG in the backline, they've made the swap onto the Sojourn. It's an unsuccessful one. And it seems like SMELVIN Industries, they may very well win things.
Yeah, SMELVIN Industries are just starting to get this stuff together here and being able to find these crucial picks, focusing down the necessary targets here, and it's going to be thrusting in a 99 here. There is overtime touch, however, from AFMT, but there's nobody in sight here. I believe the only person who's going to be there is Dinks, and they're not going to be long. They're going to get hit with a pulse bomb at the end of the day and be sent back to the grave. And now we're going over to Village here, Time to Light, which means this is going to be interesting, considering we have not really seen a successful brawl from either of these teams.
No, I feel like Village just may very well be a first time I've never seen a brawl on a map like this. I feel like both of these teams will stick with what they currently have, or something fairly similar, because they know the other isn't going to go for the brawl. Obviously, brawl very useful on both of our previous 2 points, yet right now, we're not seeing either team pick it up there, nor here. I think this will be the first Village I haven't seen brawl run in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see how these two teams are able to make this dive composition work. It looks like no swaps from either side. Again, the only thing is SMELVIN Industries running the Symmetra, and then probably going to be switching over to the Tracer. Exactly that. If AFMT are just going to be running out, no Symmetra necessary. And already you see Dinks just going to the background, or the backline, just trying to distract the members of SMELVIN Industries, and is just playing bowling with them right now, just knocking them out of position and knocking them into the side of AFMT here. So really, it's just been a back and forth affair, but SMELVIN Industries need to try to get this stuff together if they want to keep this alive.
SMELVIN Industries still sticking around in this fight. They haven't lost really anything at this juncture. Arda does find one, but they're having difficulty staying alive. They'll be demeched in the backline. And AFMT still happy to play for this forward fight. The problem is they've been losing too much to have any level of sustainability. SMELVIN Industries much more in that same conversation, where they lose Arda in the process. It seems like they will cap first, but for how long do they stick with this cap?
Yeah, definitely. AFMT seem to be in a very distinctly different dive style than SMELVIN Industries. Arda is usually the one initiating the dive here for the side of SMELVIN Industries. They're typically going in and hoping the rest of the team will follow. AFMT, however, are just thriving off of chaos. They dive when they feel like it. If it's in the middle of a fight, they dive. If it's in the end of a fight, they dive. If it's the beginning of a fight, they dive. And it just seems like that they're not being able to get these picks that they need because they're relying on other people to get them. And, you know, SMELVIN Industries is just pop Coalescence to do that.
Coalescence works, and the lack of healing where Ricky was just displaced from the rest of the team. Somehow Dinks is still alive. As soon as I say it, they die. Cap did go to AFMT for about 20 seconds or so. Makes things a little bit easier for them down the line. SMELVIN Industries, they'd be at 40% plus right now if it hadn't.
So now we'll have to see how SMELVIN Industries are going to use these ultimates as well, because a lot of them are coming online. AFMT also have a number of theirs coming up in addition, so we'll see which team is able to make their ult use perfection in this situation. Because Universe is going to be the first one to be used here.
Tuna use. Energy finds one, but Robbie finds one of their own. The support line primary supports get taken care of on both sides. Great pulse bomb almost finds Mori as well, but will only go for one. Even trades through and through at this juncture. But Joe being hunted down gets Ajax to the backline. Disastrous for AFMT, who again are only able to cap for a negligible period of time.
That was a CGL certified Ajax, probably the first one of the day. Maybe there was another one on another stream. And B, very risky from Jot because there was no one alive. Why would you use the beat there? You should have saved it for the next fight if I were you, but nonetheless, not a good look there from AFMT. It seems like they're trying to panic, trying to find these kills, and at the end of the day, it's just not working in their favor. You already see Jot is trying to go for this Tracer, but it's just going to be losing the duel again.
Why take a 1v1 with a DPS hero when you don't have hit scan abilities of your own, or your projectile abilities are not nearly insta-kill? Say less than advisable for Jot, not only using the sound barrier well alone, but just trying to hunt down that Tracer. I like the decision of Ricky trying to take that fight, but they end up losing it off of a good recall. And this fight's basically over. You're looking at final fight territory for the map in favor of SMELVIN Industries.
Yeah, AFMT really seem like they're a little disjointed here with this dive composition. They're relying on these pick potentials, but Akaza and NRG have not been able to find a lot of picks since the Shrine here. So it's going to be on this last fight. They have to make it work here, because if they don't, then they are losing this first map. But meanwhile, SMELVIN Industries looking very strong so far here on this composition. It's just a matter of trying to find that right target and stop this push before it begins.
Mines are the only ultimate coming into the fight. They've just built up the ability to pick up the pulse bomb, and how much more comes of it. Overclock gonna be used, but it's caught out as Robbie walks straight into a minefield. I believe they were sent into that position. Mori wins their doppelganger fight as Akaza will fall, but so too will Arda in the front line. You lose your tank in a near final fight territory that could have won you the map. Doesn't seem like it's going to go their way, at least not so easily nowadays. Ricky is dispatched of, but it seems like that'll be the final bit of good news for SMELVIN Industries, as they're finally forced to retreat after what seems like forever and a day.
Yeah, again, I talked about how SMELVIN Industries are really good at this dive, but Arda was all the way in the back line while their supports were trying to keep the point occupied. It might have been a little bit of miscommunication there, trying to dive onto a target that you think is 1 health. You swear it's 1 health. Your comms are saying it's 1 health throughout the entirety of the match, but at the end of the day, you just weren't able to get that kill, and you cost not only your life, but also your crucial Diva Bomb ultimate that helps you reset your mech. But now the SMELVIN Industries are coming back in with this beat. They have the potential, and that is a very early pick and a very good pick from Mori.
Akaza just got 2 pieces, one to the body from Robbie, and Mori just hits a couple headshots with the blasters. And this is just looking so dangerous. Look at Dinks, though. They're already back up near the minefield. In the process, SMELVIN Industries did cap back. So this is OT and once more final fight territory. Pulse Bomb misses, though, and inside the minefield, Mori needs to be very careful. Good usage of Disruptor Shot creates at least some space to work with, but an even better Pulse Bomb back to the way will indeed de-mech Arda, and they have no mech as a saving grace. They're gone. AFMT stay alive again, and they'll find some exits.
Yeah, definitely. Very good win there for AFMT. However, it could have been a little bit better because the point was flipped in favor of SMELVIN Industries midway through. So AFMT still need to try to find one more fight victory. And the worst part is they're only going to have 1 ultimate to the name. That is NRG's Overclock. SMELVIN Industries are going to have that Coalescence again. And we've seen Seb been able to use this Coalescence very well to get the engaged in and get some crucial picks that can turn the tide here for SMELVIN. So it's all on how AFMT are able to respond to this Coalescence. And they're going to be able to hold this point for their own. And SMELVIN Industries is rushing straight over to the point and challenging AFMT to come in.
It's also whether Arda can build up their bomb before they may get de-meched again. We saw them save themselves before, but the question is, do they pick that up again? Great usage of the slam behind. There goes Robbie. No overclock to be built up, and an even better cleanse to keep NRG alive while they're using their own. Arda has indeed built up the Diva Bomb. They have the saving grace and the get out of jail free card. Should they need to use it? But there goes the hunt to the Moira, and Arda is virtually isolated just off the point. Again in the process, SMELVIN Industries did capture, but how much did they find off the back of it? There's the bomb, but they C9 it on the front side. AFMT end up picking it up. I think SMELVIN Industries would have lost anyway with the Diva isolated, but it's AFMT with Nepal regardless.
Yeah, definitely. And NRG saying in the chat that the Diva just kept chasing them down, which that seemed to be the problem there. SMELVIN Industries were too focused on the dive that everything else was just kind of put to rest. They weren't focused on the main objective at hand, and it seemed like that they were a little too focused on that dive. They would go for the dive, and they would not stop diving until that target was dead, while the rest of their team is dying behind them. So really, that seems to be the problem right now. SMELVIN Industries need to try to clean that up, or else they're not in for a good look for the rest of this series here, Time to Light, because you can dive a target, but you need to realize when that target is, when the pressure has been built up enough on that target, and you need to start focusing on something else, because it's not about just getting that kill, it's about putting on the pressure. And right now, AFMT are running that dive composition a little bit better, because while they're not getting those kills cleanly, they are getting the pressure put onto SMELVIN Industries and forcing them to use these crucial ultimates, these crucial abilities, and getting those kills as a result of that.
I gotta be completely honest with you. I may have been a little bit of a bad caster as that game was ending. I didn't see who capped when the C9 came through. I thought it was a C9 and AFMT lost it while trying to fight with the Diva. I thought they didn't cap and then went off the point to try and de-mech the Diva, and then they lost the round. Luckily, that wasn't the case. And I don't know if you can really call it a C9 because the Diva got de-meched, so it's not really a C9 at the end of the day. But I was really scared because I thought AFMT just were like, oh yeah, hey, we don't need to play the objective in an objective-based game. Don't worry about it. We'll go for the kills and lock in that, and then go for the objective. I thought they lost it. They didn't. Thank goodness.
We'll
Because
call it a C.4. We'll call it a C4.5 because it's the Diva technically the Diva had a chance to touch, but she was just being restricted, and it was basically a very losable situation even if they were able to touch. It was very unlikely that SMELVIN Industries were going to win that point back, even if the Diva was able to touch. Regardless of that, now we head over to Hybrid, and SMELVIN Industries do get the map choice, and they've decided to bring us to the map that you currently see behind us right now. Midtown is the map choice here. Very interesting sort of map pick, because this is not a map that you can typically play dive on. This is much more of a rush map, which could make sense. SMELVIN Industries were the only team that was willing to play the rush comp. They wanted to play that Ramatra on Shrine, but they ended up having to switch back over to that Diva because of the AFMT ball composition that was running rampant through most of that map here, Time Delight. So we'll have to see if it's going to work in the favor of the side of SMELVIN Industries, and if they're going to be able to make it work in the end.
So I do have to think. I have seen dive a couple times on Midtown first point. That could be a difference maker for the attacking side should they get into more crunch time scenarios, but it's not as common. Again, a lot of things, especially in some new patches, are certainly viable. They can be played. They could be played if a team seems more comfortable on it, or if you're the best Winston ever and you're probably not so great at Ramatra, maybe it's better to play the Winston. But at this point, you have to be a little bit more focused on what teams will try to counter with. We've seen counter picks out the wazoo over the last couple weeks since recent patches. I've seen way more swaps on the tank side than I think I did in the entirety of Overwatch 2 before the most recent patches, and that was a little while. So Midtown seems more than viable on both sides, but if you're SMELVIN picking into this, what did they identify that they could walk away better with?
It's going to be an interesting sort of factor. I think the only thing that you could try to do is make it so that AFMT are not allowed to play that dive composition as much. You look at the other maps on our pool, Nimbani, Blizzard World, and Eichenwald. All three of those have a better dive potential than Midtown, which is basically just American Kings Row. It's very closed in. There's not a lot of places you can actually move through. You have to really just stick to this one sort of route. There are some side routes you can take advantage of as a tracer, but a wrecking ball or a dive composition is very hard to pull off on this map. That being said, though, AFMT are willing to try and stick with this wrecking ball. Meanwhile, on the side of SMELVIN, they have made a swap. Robbie is coming out and Adam is coming in on the DPS role. Kind of makes sense because when we saw Robbie on that DPS role, it seemed like they were usually getting picked out first. Not to mention we're seeing Adam come out here on the Tracer and Mori on the Genji. So probably a case of Robbie cannot play Tracer, Adam can. Let's sub in Adam so we can try to run more of this dive style to try and counteract AFMT's dive style. And it's going to be interesting to see if this works out. Because, again, Midtown is a very hard map to dive. I expect SMELVIN Industries want to try to play this more like a rush comp with everybody sticking around the Diva and the Diva babysitting the backline. Nonetheless, we'll see if it's going to work out for the favor of SMELVIN as they come out through the streets.
There's only one mirrored hero, and that being the Tracer, because she's Tracer. Yep. But AFMT, they're sticking with the ball, and I like it. The movement is something they really favor here. Picking up the Zenyatta could be a little bit of a concerning factor. Adam's very lucky to currently be alive. They barely are, but they get help from their backline. They'll go hunting back for Kaza. But all of this is really distracting SMELVIN Industries. 30 seconds gone already. Not anything impactful their overall time bank, but it took them a little bit while longer to go towards the backline than they would have liked. And there goes the dive. They'll just walk straight in off the back of Arda, who will help onto NRG and find one. But Akaza does take care of Adam. This fight's very far from over. But oh my goodness, how in the world? There we go. I thought Joe was going to lose that.
Yeah, definitely good dive there from Mori to get rid of that Baptiste. Now, Ricky is the only support here for the side of AFMT, at least for the next few seconds, which means that AFMT do not have enough heals really to keep this team alive if there's a lot of pressure put onto them. So it's all on SMELVIN Industries trying to keep themselves sustained. But you already see just so much pressure coming in, and at the end of the day, Vance is dead.
So a second tick is also picked up in that process. Vance gone. Maybe they're not too concerned with that if you're SMELVIN. They seem more than happy to stick on the point, and Dink's falling there. That'll spell the end of the first point. SMELVIN Industries pick up point one, and they're starting to force a little bit of an overcommit. Jot is on point one. That either they wanted to die and go back to spawn doors and swap, or they're just the least situationally aware. I'm gonna go for the 4. Yeah, it's the 4.
I mean, it also could be the fact that the supports are both getting caught out here. Jock getting caught out, trying to go for that flank, and Ricky getting caught out in the stairway here. Not a good look here for AFMT as this cart starts moving here. SMELVIN Industries, again, I feel like that they are better at terms of executing the dive target that they need to find, but it seems like they struggle trying to get those kills in the most part. On that attack, it worked out to their favor. Mori was able to get those 2 kills, get rid of the Baptiste as well, making so that Zenyatta was the only heal, and SMELVIN was able to take the point. Now the question, can you keep up that momentum? Can you find these kills with these dives and be able to continue pushing this cart through the streets of it?
Trying to dive onto Kaza again, trying to catch him off. Mine's used, but to no particular effect right now. Great hunting of Adam. They'll fall. Trying to get a little overzealous down below. The D.Va, lucky to currently be alive. They'll actually live through that fight and get help staying alive at that same juncture. But again, watch for Dinks. They just used mines. They're already back up to 30% on their ult because just nobody is shutting them down on these aggressive top-down angles, and it's working. AFMT has taken every fight they can. They just haven't won enough to force SMELVIN to fully recommit. And here comes a coalescence off the back of it. Wolf Bomb used. NRG ends up dying. I think it landed onto Ricky, and they wanted to try and keep themselves invulnerable. They end up throwing their teammate as a lamb to the slaughter. That'll do it, at least for the Sojourn for the time being. Arda, a little over-aggressive. They could be DMEC, and they will be. But will they go hunting down onto Ricky? Not successfully, at least. And SMELVIN Industries, they will be forced to, we'll say, commit elsewhere.
Yeah, SMELVIN Industries already coming out of this fight with a little bit of blood on their hands, having to leave at the end of the day. But definitely, that pulse bomb placement was unfortunate. Zenyatta's, of course, one of Zenyatta's Transcendence voice lines is become invisible. Some restrictions may apply. That is one of the restrictions in that case. Getting hit by a pulse bomb that was landed onto your Zenyatta does not keep you alive through Transcendence, unfortunately. But SMELVIN Industries are going to be coming in with a big ultimate, and that is this Dragon Blade from Mori. You do not have the Transcendence now from AFMT. You're only going to have this rally up from Jot in terms of a support ultimate. So maybe Mori can try to find some big kills here with this Dragon Blade and time to try to turn the tide. Mori was the one that made the big play earlier in this fight to get SMELVIN that first point. So hopefully this Dragon Blade can live up to expectations.
Blade committed very early. Mines the back line as well, but how much do they find with it? Mori didn't hit a single shot on that Dragon Blade, and somehow Arda gets demeched, but they end up winning a fight on Jota before they fall, and they'll get back in the mech off the explosion. Somehow SMELVIN are winning most of these duels, and they're gonna cap second in the process off of a completely whipped Mori Blade, and Arda finding a kill as they exit their mech. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, that somewhat makes sense. Jot using that rally to counter out the Blade, made it to the SMELVIN Industries, had an opportunity to try and push in, and you saw energy dropping extremely low. Mori, I believe, did hit one slash into that Sojourn, but was not able to get the final blow, but there was already so much damage pumped into AFMT that SMELVIN Industries were able to clean it up. But now as we enter Grand Central Station, there is a crucial swap. Mori is going over to the Cassidy here, no longer on that Genji. And as I say that, they are blown up by a pulse bomb. So that's the Cassidy curse if I've ever seen it. Nonetheless, we'll see if this Cassidy is going to make a difference. Obviously, they want to have more sustainability compared to more dive potential, which makes sense, especially in Grand Central Station, where it's harder to dive, especially with the open space that Grand Central Station has.
We're also seeing a lot more long distance heroes being played here. You've seen a Soldier, you see a Sojourn a lot if your team's comfortable with it. A lot of times you'll also see something like an Ashe other than NRG playing it in a previous map because you want that long range potential. Akaza goes hunting for some high ground. They've got some help from things as well. They want to go hunting. How much can they find? Coalescence used. It doesn't seem like Seb's all that aware they're being hunted. He'll actually live through the first fight, but the overclock, it finds one, wants to hunt down a second, but can't find the shot on towards them. It does enough, however, to force way too much out of SMELVIN, and they'll disengage in the process.
But I do, however, like what SMELVIN were able to do there. Yes, they did use the Coalescence, but AFMT responded with both the Overclock and the Transcendence to counter that Coalescence. So you were able to trade one ult for two. Now AFMT have two ultimates. You're only going to have these two ultimates with the Bomb and the Beat. Maybe the High Noon if Mori's able to build it up fast enough, but still, AFMT using these ultimates a little bit too overzealous and costing themselves a little bit of pressure here. SMELVIN Industries, if they can keep that up, they can eventually expire all of AFMT's ult bank and be able to make a push for their own with their own ultimates.
45 on the time bank, more than enough time to set something up here in Grand Central Station. But losing Vance, we'll say, slows you down a little bit. You've lost Seb as well. Support line's gone. Say goodbye to it. Akaza does fall short, but yeah, the SMELVIN Industries just can't fight that.
Yeah, and that's really an issue. That's really a situation where SMELVIN Industries support line was just caught off guard by the rest of the team. Arda was in the back line, I assume with Adam trying to dive on a certain target, but the support line was all the way back in Narnia. So not the ideal situation for SMELVIN. If they can clean up these sort of issues where Arda's diving in without their support line, then maybe they have a better potential. But they have to try and clean that up, or else they're going to be met with a face full of that cart not going into point 3.
Deadeye prep, they try to use it if they can early, but how do they find anybody from this distance? Something trying to be set up, but nothing whatsoever. And Mori's going to be hunted down. The ball and the tracer going for them, and it works. The backline pressure just that much better for AFMT, and they're finding make it almost a second with it. Seb's currently lucky to be alive. They are no longer. The false bomb unsuccessful, sure, but it's really not going to matter at the end of the day. SMELVIN Industries just no sustainability, and Arda's going to be demexed, and they're dead. Great hold for AFMT.
Very great hold, and now with 30 seconds left on the clock, SMELVIN Industries have to try and make this push work. They will have that Diva Bomb, and they will have the Pulse Bomb in the reserve, and they also, once again, have this Coalescence from Seb that has helped set up a lot of these pushes that SMELVIN Industries have been trying to make. AFMT, all they have is this Overclock and Transcendence. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Ricky uses Transcendence to counteract the Coalescence, but we'll have to see at the end of the day. SMELVIN Industries make their way to the card, and will be able to get that Overtime Wick burning.
Overtime at least will happen.
Oh,
it is now, best case scenario, SMELVIN cap the end, but how much do they find with it? That's the real question. Seb already gone, Bance was as well. They will have Coalescence should Seb get back in time, and a Pulse Bomb lands, but Adam dies directly after using it. Diva Bomb goes off, but it finds absolutely nothing other than some space creation, and Seb coming back with Coalescence doesn't end up finding any healing onto Arda in time. They'll be forced away from the point, mines will be used, so will the Trank. And it's a valiant effort, but an unsuccessful one to cap third. SMELVIN Industries stopped at the 83-meter mark. AFMT have a shot to win in regulation.
Yeah, definitely. I think right now SMELVIN Industries are really underestimating the power of AFMT's Tracer. Kaza being able to get those 2 picks to start out the fight was the crucial factor. Not to mention, Seb did not use the Coalescence in time, so they unfortunately were unable to use it in that fight. I feel like if you're SMELVIN Industries, you have to realize that that Tracer is right now a legit threat, and you need to try to do something about it, whether it be stick on the Cassidy, whether it be focusing on the Sombra, whether hoping Adam gets that Tracer 1v1 duel in their favor. But right now, something has to be done against that Tracer, because it has been a lethal pain in your butt, and if it's not done quickly, AFMT are going to start steamrolling.
So how does this snowball start to work if AFMT can win first point and create the same space SMELVIN Industries did? Brief reminder, SMELVIN Industries had the arguable greatest start that they could have. They capped, they had time remaining, they got under the overpass within maybe a minute and change in that second point. And then after that, they stalled for a little while. It didn't kill them, they got the third point, but it took them forever and a day to do anything on third point. They only got 83 meters with, I think, like a 4-minute time bank, maybe 3. But you're looking at SMELVIN saying, what went wrong there? The answer, they just didn't have the same sustainability. And AFMT has made the swap onto the Junker Queen. Ah, I love it.
Yep, Junker Queen here from AFMT. It's completely changing up the script. We've only seen Wrecking Ball with them, so we'll have to see if Dinks is able to make some magic work here on this Junker Queen. I do like the pick. It means that AFMT are wanting to run a little bit more of a rush style compared to what we've been seeing this entire series, which is the dive. Maybe SMELVIN Industries will be able to respawn in kind, or respond in kind. But right now, AFMT making their way through the main, trying to find these hacks and these valuable targets as Arda is hit with that Jagged Blade and the hack in the same time.
Starting to become more of a problem for SMELVIN. Adam went low, had the recall already. A lot of the cooldowns have been forced out extremely early from SMELVIN, which makes things much more problematic, again, for their level of sustainability. Does the Sombra survive? That's the question. The answer, absolutely no. Mori is eliminated in all senses of the word. Say goodbye to Seb as well. Everybody's fallen. It's a snowball effect because, look out your window, it may be warm, but it's still technically winter. AFMT will pick up first cap within 60 seconds of the round start.
Yeah, especially even when we're in the Northeast here, we have had blizzards in the Northeast in April, so anything is on the table in this sort of day and age. But nonetheless, AFMT are just really good at being able to find these crucial picks, be able to continue the momentum in their favor. And SMELVIN Industries just don't seem to know where to put their head in the right place. They don't know which target to really focus on, it seems. And at the end of the day, they're all stuck trying to go for their individual targets, their individual calls, and it's just not working the way they want to. So hopefully they're able to clean that up here on the defense. but already trying to force down Dinks very low and forcing him to get healed up is a good start, and stopping this cart right at that first end is also a pretty good start here. We'll see if SMELVIN keep this momentum in their favor.
Finally, like, slow the cart down, but how much do you do with it? This started with 5 minutes and 32 seconds of time, and keep that number in mind when some notable checkpoints start coming through. Maybe not the second checkpoint as a whole, but under the overpass, up to the first 90-degree turn after that. You have to keep that concerned, especially if you're SMELVIN. It takes them exactly 60 seconds to at least get to the underpass, and it seems like they'll get past it without any level of contention from SMELVIN.
Yeah, and I also feel like SMELVIN are taking this approach a little bit too lax in any sort of case, because I'm constantly noticing that Arda is not really near their supports most of the time. They're constantly on an off angle. They're constantly trying to go for set up some sort of flank, and it's just not working for them because the AFMT can just do that and rush on their backline and kill them in a second.
It's EMP alongside the Kitsune Rush, and nobody's going to survive for any longer than an extra 3 or 4 seconds. This seems like it will indeed be a second point cap, taking a total of 3 minutes and 37 seconds to cap first and second phase. They've still got 5 minutes, and they only have to get 80 meters. That's arguably just 2 fights, and they have a calendar year to build up ultimates to be the catalyst to success.
Yeah, definitely. They have that golden box of victory in front of them. The ultimates to be able to do it as well if they're able to use them in proper motion. So AFMT are in a very good spot. SMELVIN Industries, however, they still want to try to commit to these dives. They still want to try to find these early picks, and that Rampage is going to try to stop them in their tracks.
Oh, great hack. Mori wants to use the Dragon Blade if they can find it. They miss the dash, and Akaza can just get out, but it doesn't seem like that's going to end the fight. Arda found help onto 1 or 2. Adam will find NRG. Finally, something fully goes the way of SMELVIN.
Yeah, definitely. SMELVIN able to finally take advantage of the fight that they were doing. They were able to engage with that beat and be able to dive on the right targets and be able to find those crucial picks. The Rampage was nothing more than just a little bit of dent in the metal sheet. And at the end of the day, they were able to quickly buff that out and get it back into factory here. So SMELVIN now need to try to keep the momentum in their favor. But Jot using that beat early should be a go button to try and get this fight over with now that you've already forced it out with this blade.
Well, the blade finds really nothing. It just forces out a recall from Akaza. And yeah, sure, that sound barrier dedicated, but Akaza finds the stick with the pulse bomb. Dinks went down to a singular point of health and somehow still lived through the duel. And the jump into the backline, Akaza finds one, recalls for a second. Mori is so confused. Get man a map!
Yeah, definitely Mori's going to need a map to traverse not only Grand Central Station, but the rest of this match right now. And it's gotten so desperate for SMELVIN that they've actually made the emergency switch to the Ramatra here to try and keep the stability in their own. But once again, I mentioned so many times, Akaza is running rampant, and then you have this 4-man EMP.
And the EMP just finds basically everything they need. You will have the block if you need it, but Arda, how long do you live through it? That's the question. Nemesis Form still has 4 seconds on the cooldown. They end up finding a follow-up kill into Akaza. This is not an unreasonable fight to win. The problem is it's so laborious and so many cooldowns are required in the process. Commanding Shout, however, just delays what was a 3-second inevitability. And SMELVIN do indeed lose the fight, but look at the time bank. There's 3 minutes to go. What, 15 meters?
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult task to try and hold those 15 meters here with 3 minutes on the clock. But I think the SMELVIN Industries have an opportunity to do it because that last fight was won because Jot died first. AFMT were already down one of their supports before the fight even began. And even though the AMP was massive, there just wasn't enough follow-up. So SMELVIN Industries can keep themselves sustained through these massive ultimates that AFMT have throwing at them, then they have an opportunity to take this in their favor.
Coalescence dedicated, so too is the Kitsune or Rush, but how much does each one find? It's basically just they trump one another and nothing happens with either one being dedicated. Whole lot of nothing burger on that one. Rampage finds one. Sound barrier dedicated to try and counter that one. It's who has more ultimates to try and counter the other. And the answer right now seems to be AFMT. Adam on low health needs to survive, but Arda surrounded. It doesn't matter if you have the block, if you get hacked and then taken care of. Adam alone, they'll be the final hurdle to this one, as it's basically a 1v4 for the Genji of Mori. They'll find a block, they have a Dragon Blade, and it's immediately dispatched of. So Moira there as well, trying to delay as long as they can. And here comes the Ramatra again with 1.75 meters. It is a final stand for AFMT to try and deny them from this capture. Now 0.37 meters, and nobody can delay what is the inevitable. Mori swaps to the Widow, and it's the most inconsequential selection we've seen all day. AFMT will go up 2-0.
Yep, and AFMT now thrust themselves into match point here. A very good sight showing so far from AFMT. So we'll have to see if they're able to keep this momentum up. And as I mentioned, Akaza on this Tracer seems to be the problem point right now for SMELVIN Industries. They don't know how to counter this Tracer because they, again, have just been running rampant. They've been able to get these crucial kills. They've been able to find these crucial moments that have gotten AFMT into the position they needed to find success in this matchup here. And it seems to be the real pin in the side of SMELVIN Industries. If they're able to deal with this Tracer and stop it, make this so this Tracer is not putting as much of an impact as they have been in this match, then there is a chance that SMELVIN Industries can turn this around. But right now it's trying to focus on that Tracer and trying to get yourself situated here, especially now that you have a halftime break to get that to get everything sorted in that regard.
It's at least something to take a second and figure out what is absolutely going wrong. Obviously, there's a few minutes between maps. You have a minute between rounds trying to detect what's just not been going your way. But now you have a little bit more time. Hopefully, they could take the time we're going to give them, move on to a third map, and keep themselves involved in the series. Because this one seems like it could very well end quickly. But not before a break. When we come back, it's Flashpoint on the cards. Will that be our final resting place in this second round of bracket play? We'll find out when we return.
Got lots of love. Got lots of love. Got lots of love. Got lots of love. Got lots of love.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven.
No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Payne. He's just going to solidify everything from Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
SKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lore, is he going to be able to find these shots true?
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an athlete immediately goes back there. Fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3. So back and forth.
Their name is Air Fry Mariana Trench, but it just seems like they've been frying their opponents in SMELVIN Industries. It smells like they're cooking, and it's cooking real well for AFMT. Maps 1 and 2, Nepal and Midtown respectively go their way. They're on for the sweep, but will they guarantee it as we head to our third map on Time to Light? Journal beside me here is HB Bowsy as I shake my camera here on CGL. And I got a question here, Bowsy. Does anything change as we move to Flashpoint?
It's a very good question. Flashpoint is Suravasa for the map pick here, and I think really we might see some changes here, but that is a very heavy emphasis on might. Suravasa typically can be seen as a brawl map. It's not as available for dives as New Junk City typically is for Flashpoint. At the same time, though, it's not completely out of the equation. Suravasa can work for dive compositions. You could still run a Winston, you could still run a Wrecking Ball, which seems to be what AFMT have in their wheelhouse right now, but we've also seen them run that Junker Queen, so either way, AFMT are not going to be showing us anything new, it seems like, on this map. We're either seeing the Wrecking Ball or we're seeing the Junker Queen, but I think the guarantee is we're still going to be seeing that Tracer from a Kaza, who has been wreaking havoc this entire series here, Time to Light. If anyone's cooking, it's a Kaza, and they are currently on Gordon Ramsay's watch list.
It is them walking around with their two little akimbo pistols going, "What are you?" And it's an idiot sandwich. Akimbo pistols. That greatest reference I've had today. I'm on it. No. Moving into Suravasa, though. The question remains for SMELVIN Industries. Do you change? On a map like Suravasa, a lot of different playstyles will work, but the issue is how you bring those playstyles to multiple points as time rolls over. That's the answer that they will need to stay alive in the series. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think they're going to pick up that answer. This has not been a great series from them. You said it on our break, this is the only time they've lost control of, what is it, all season?
Correct.
So it's not great. You're already losing a map type you've seemingly been indomitable on, and now you're moving on to one that you haven't looked great on thus far.
Yeah, I looked at the stats. SMELVIN Industries have only lost one hybrid map all season, and it was the one we just saw. So not a good look here for SMELVIN as they head out here on the Visramatra composition, trying to find success with it, while AFMT, excuse me, are sticking with this dive composition, wanting to run the Wrecking Ball, wanting to run the Tracer. NRG is going over to the Sombra. I believe this is the second time we've seen them on that hero all day. Nonetheless, it is a very distinct style, and already you see SMELVIN Industries are trying to take advantage of these sort of points, but Akaza is just there, lurking around the corner, ready to poke them down as they try to take that angle.
Yeah, and as soon as they're walking in, they're taking so much damage. It's a very expensive opening to most of these. Instead's already gone. A hack, a couple shots from the akimbo pistols, and Dinks just slamming them into the floor. It seems like they were just smushed under all the weight of the very large hamster. And there's a great hack again onto Arda. The Sombra is just such a good hero in the right hands, and NRG is the right hands.
Yeah, definitely. And again, AFMT are able to disassemble this brawl composition bit by bit, because the brawl composition wants to stick together. But when you're getting hit from every single angle, your head is on a swivel. You constantly have to try and focus on every single sort of bullet that's coming from every single direction. And AFMT are doing that perfectly here. Meanwhile, SMELVIN Industries really should be checking their corners at this point, because Akaza has done this twice, and they're going to get away with it again. Actually, no, they're actually going to die here, so that's a good opportunity here for SMELVIN Industries to really engage and make this push their own.
Well, on the counter pick from Mori, they hack out Dinks while they try to go for the slam, but it doesn't seem like it's found all that much in the process. A virus lands, so Dinks is going to have to go health pack hunting, but now Adam's going Dinks hunting. And SMELVIN do cap, so hey, step in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. SMELVIN are able to just get that crucial pick, but still, AFMT are trying to invest into this. They use the EMP solely on Arda, and are now finding these kills to get themselves back in this fight.
Dinks finding one, and everybody else is going to die after. This is just not a good fight from SMELVIN. They looked so good from the start, but the disengage was just so well timed from AFMT that they were able to get back in while SMELVIN was a little out of position. And actually, SMELVIN getting up to 50%, I thought it was going to be a little less, but hey, they take full advantage of the Flashpoint ticket faster.
Yeah, definitely. Flashpoint percentage ticks a lot faster than control points. They're able to get that a lot more percentage, a lot more. But that also means that SMELVIN are basically at last fight territory here to try and take Market here. They have to win this fight or else Market is a loss. So we'll have to see how they're going to be able to respond here. They do have this EMP from Mori up here, but that minefield from Dinks is keeping everyone out, except Adam, who's able to get the kill on the Ricky to start off. So that's a good start here for SMELVIN. Now how do they initiate?
Losing Mori doesn't make your life at all easy, though. Ricky taking care of at least helps them long run, but a great TP out. Dinks finds Vance. How in the world have they not found a single kill after taking out just one? Everybody else falls. This will be a first point cap for AFMT. They are trying to break out the brooms. The sweep is well and truly on the way.
Yeah, it really confuses me how SMELVIN were unable to get a single kill there after getting probably the most influential pick on the side of AFMT in that Kiriko. That means the Lucio is the only healer. The Kiriko cannot teleport around. They can't get any sort of sustain. Everybody has to be in that Lucio aura or find the nearest health pack in order to keep themselves alive. Not to mention, SMELVIN Industries held on to every single ultimate, so they've had about 5 ultimates here since the beginning of the last fight. But now in this next fight, they have to use these ultimates, and they're going to start with solo EMPing NRG.
The EMP just was too far. Your radius on that also applies to verticality. It's a sphere, not a cylinder, I suppose. And yeah, it only gets one, but luckily they still win the fight. I don't know about luckily, but they still win the fight.
Yeah, definitely. Being able to win that fight is crucial, and also not over-investing ultimates into that. All you had to invest was that EMP, which AFMT are going to have one of their own for this next fight, so it's up on the Vance to try and keep the team alive with that sound barrier, and it's up to the rest of the team to try and stay away from the radius of NRG on the Sombra. Right now, AFMT, we'll have to see. They've seemed to be better in the ultimate game, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're just going to EMP right on the Vance.
EMP lands. Pretty good usage of their cooldowns to try and survive, but sound barrier, Kitsune rush, the kitchen sink, the whole 9 yards. Every idiom that you can use to describe everything is indeed thrown through. SMELVIN, yes, will cap first on second point, but again, for only about 55%, similar to AFMT back on first.
Yeah, definitely. AFMT definitely seems to overinvest. The sound barrier, the EMP, and the Kitsune Rush all using that. The only ultimate they have to their name now is the Pulse Bomb. Dinks will have this minefield as well, ready for the next fight, which has been used as a separation tool. But SMELVIN Industries have an opportunity to pounce on this. You only had to use the Coalescence. You still have your beat that you can use to engage with this bomb, this Diva Bomb to get yourself back in the fight quick, and you also have the Pulse Bomb from Adam that can find a crucial pick, and they are engaging with that beat to start off here with Vance.
The problem is they weren't really in the fight as they used that beat. They find very little with it at the end of the day. Adam, that overheal's already gone, so what do you find with it? Adam's hit by a virus, in between 3 players, lucky to be alive, but has to use all of their cooldowns just to get out, and somehow they'll live through the fight. SMELVIN Industries, while finding 0 kills, does cap, and they find a kill onto Dinks with help from a Pulse Bomb as well. The cap looks like it's going to be given over in that same process. Pulse Bomb misses originally, somehow doesn't find a kill on either of the 2 players in its vicinity. SMELVIN Industries force AFMT back, and they will indeed get a point on the board.
Yeah, definitely. Good job there from SMELVIN to be able to clean up the picks that they needed, even if it was just pushing onto the point. That forces AFMT to come to you, and with that Moira, you have a lot more sustainability than you would with the Kiriko. You are able to be grouped up together and be able to get more healing as a unit, so SMELVIN Industries being able to take advantage of that and find those kills. Now AFMT are making this swap back over to this Junker Queen from Dinks, and obviously this means the tank has much more sustain and can be a much more brawl-centric figure than the Wrecking Ball could, so it's up on SMELVIN to try and take advantage of it.
Self-destruct use, Remake will come through for Arda, but Mori already using their TP. They're in a very susceptible position right now. They will have to disengage, and Arda using that self-destruct and finding very little with it. Everybody seems to be just completely snowballing into the rest of the squad. Say goodbye to Arda. And again, it's actually a cap for AFMT, even though SMELVIN had so much control at the start of the fight.
Yeah, definitely. It was really just AFMT being able to stabilize on the point. SMELVIN were looking for a dive target that just didn't exist because all of AFMT were set up on the objective and trying to poke out these members one by one. Now we're seeing Arda go back over to this Ramatra. We saw this earlier in the fight. It didn't work out well, but now that AFMT are on this Junker Queen, you just have to play rock, paper, scissors in that situation. You have to be careful about the EMP from the energy that lands on the board.
Oh, and that's... Hey, it's over.
Yeah, it's
Nothing
already over.
dramatic about it.
It's
Adam
over before it
has found
started.
1 kill. Yeah, this is just so clean from AFMT. They use 1, maybe 2. In that case, they only use the EMP, which is very easily built up directly afterwards. And SMELVIN, team kill, Ed, gone, say goodbye.
Yeah, and even worse than that is Mori also used their EMP. I don't know if that EMP got nothing or if it was canceled, because I don't think I saw anybody on the side of AFMT who was hacked out by the EMP. So SMELVIN are now down one of their crucial ultimates nonetheless. So now they have to really make this work. But you already win the Sombra duel here, getting rid of NRG. So there's a potential here for SMELVIN to get this point into their favor.
So right now, if I'm AFMT, back away. Use nothing, get out. There's no reason to participate in this fight unless you intentionally take it as a dry fight and you want to force out ults from SMELVIN. Dinks gets out, somehow lives through that. We'll have some support as well. Be very careful, and you'll get caught by a pulse bomb. But you're okay with that. Remember, this is still only a single cap for SMELVIN, and they've expended one of their, we'll say, 3 current ultimates to pick it up, and they arguably picked it up before that.
Yeah, definitely. I do like this aggressive approach that we saw SMELVIN go in. Even though they won the fight, they were still willing to take the fight to AFMT and find those late picks. The goal of this composition is you want to try to play faster than the Junker Queen. If the Junker Queen is given space, if the Junker Queen is given time to set up, then she will stomp all over you. So SMELVIN need to try to find a way to stop the Junker Queen from being able to set up and take advantage of it.
There is the Rampage. Finds help onto one, and it's just Arda isolated. Coalescence is good. It's not any level of divine intervention. Arda will fall, so too will Seb. Cap will go to AFMT. They're not only on match point in maps, they're match point in rounds. Suravasa, just a single 100% point from finishing, and quick.
Yeah, definitely. Flashpoint, match point now in favor for AFMT as they head over to the Palace here for the 4th flashpoint in this map. SMELVIN Industries, it seemed like that Arda wanted to take that fight quicker. The rest of the team, however, was waiting for Adam to come back on the Tracer. So now AFMT, hopefully, now that the entire team is together,
What? Adam is just gone, evaporated, put into oxygen and hydrogen. His health bar saying goodbye to it. And Arda, basically isolated. They've got some support, but that's about it. They're gone. This flashpoint will unlock in the next few seconds, and AFMT, it could not be better time to go their way.
Yeah, remember when I said how AFMT remember I said the faster team is going to win this. If SMELVIN play faster, they're going to beat AFMT. If AFMT play faster, they're going to beat SMELVIN, and that was exactly the case there. You throw SMELVIN for a loop, you come out of an angle that no one really expects you to come out of, and you're able to take that fight extremely quickly, find that first pick extremely quickly, and turn it around in your favor. So SMELVIN, their goal, play faster, and already losing Mori is not a good start.
They played faster, just not to their own benefit. It's just a problem that's developing past what they can survive. EMP available now for NRG. They're not even going to need it. Tracer will fall, I think, in the back line. It'll take him an extra recall to do so. That's such a delay that they just cannot afford.
Yeah, it is a delay that's going to cost them here, as Adam is going to be respawning later than the rest of the group, and SMELVIN are probably wanting to wait for that Tracer to come back into the fight. The only good news here for SMELVIN is that they do have all 4 ults, and you find that beautiful pick onto Akaza, who is looking for that cheeky backline pressure.
That's a benefit, but how much do you expend to take control here? It seems like AFMT will just disengage for the time being, maybe try and get it up to about 90%, and it seems like they will do so. Kitsune Rush dedicated. They try to use a sound barrier. Vance does not get Ajax out of it, but Jote uses their second. It only catches themselves in NRG, though, so a very ineffective sound barrier, and Jote will die at the end of it. Great Rampage, though, finds 3 separate players. Even better usage of that cleanse, but how long can they live through this one? Arda popping the Annihilation just to stay alive, and look at AFMT's percentage. Yeah, they've given some away, but they're at 96%. It is final fight to close out the series.
Yeah, definitely. Very good job there from SMELVIN Industries to sustain through all of that. AFMT, it seemed like they were trying to constantly throw ults at the wall, and it didn't really stick. You threw in the Rampage there that only landed onto 1 or 2 members, and Seb was able to clean up the team. You also threw in the Pulse Bomb onto Arda. You did force out that Annihilation, yes, but at the end of the day, it seemed like you were just constantly trying to throw in ults and find an advantage in that fight. But AFMT do have this EMP from NRG. We've seen them be able to win fights with this single ultimate alone, so if they're able to set this EMP up, they have a good opportunity to take this match.
Yeah, but it's an EMP versus an EMP and that Kitsune Rush. But say goodbye to Seb. Your Kitsune Rush will mean very little. The EMP for Mori will land, but nobody is there to follow up on it. Arda, sure, but it's Adam alone. 1 versus 3 to try and cap and hold, and they're unsuccessful in doing so. AFMT will team kill out SMELVIN Industries, and they will cleanse themselves of this second round. AFMT clean and clear to sweep away a 3-0 victory.
I don't think that Kitsune Rush came out from the Kiriko. Yeah, it got EMP'd in the middle of the animation. Is there a term for an Ajax of a Kitsune Rush? Because I think we need to establish one after that, because that is a CGL certified Kitsune Rush cancel. Nonetheless, I mentioned that the EMP was a crucial factor, and that's exactly what AFMT were able to accomplish. They used the EMP, and within a second, they won the fight after it. So really good execution from AFMT, being able to use those ultimates in tandem, and knew what the sort of situation was to be able to get it in their favor. So really strong play there from AFMT, being able to use this compositions that they were running to maximum effect. SMELVIN Industries, of course, unfortunately just weren't able to keep up to the pace, especially against that dive composition and eventually the Junker Queen. So hopefully SMELVIN Industries, they were able to get to the second round. Hopefully they're not going to be regretting it, and at the end of the day, they're going to be coming into the second half of the season, or the next part of the season, with courage. But at the end of the day, their mid-season tournament run is over, and AFMT are now locked into that next round of the bracket.
They're more than happy to take a couple of these rounds as well. AFMT, they only picked, I think, map 1. SMELVIN Industries was the lower seed coming into things. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But AFMT, bringing into things, pick Nepal. That's it. That was our closest map. Nepal was our closest map, and AFMT didn't even have any noticeable advantage going on to it. On the other side, SMELVIN Industries, they select Midtown. They get absolutely dusted. There was like 5 minutes and 30 seconds on the time bank going into second phase. There was 5 minutes and change going into third. And then they finish with still 2 minutes and change remaining. And then going on to Suravasa, you lose 1 point because the other team just had better ultimates going into it. Arguably not much you can do there. After that, they make very few, if any, mistakes, and they just cleanly sweep the game. This was a great series from AFMT.
100%. This is definitely a series you're going to be proud of if you are AFMT. It went from being extremely close at the beginning to being almost dominant toward the end of it. So really good job from AFMT to be able to make those adaptations and make it work into their favor here. So they're going to be moving on to the next bracket, and we'll see if they're able to take the title in this bracket here, because now they're in that final round of the bracket here. It's going to be a determiner, because I honestly think after the performance we saw here, Time to Light, they have to be a favorite for that bracket to get that extra win under their belts for the CGL Season 13.
Hey, they're certainly feeling it on their own side, and that's what matters. Momentum is certainly a factor in brackets like this, and back-to-back 3-0s, one of them against a team that had picked up a 3-0 of their own, not scrubs by any stretch of the imagination. This is a good team that you just absolutely crushed in what was a close series to start, and then one that was just stretched out into an absolute sweep towards the end of things. AFMT will take this second round of play. They'll move on, and they'll be more than happy to do so. I believe we have an NA match later on today. It'll probably be scheduled in about 20 minutes with how some of these teams are, but I'd love to see you come back for that tomorrow, or later today, and then tomorrow we have Friday Night Overwatch for both EU and NA. Don't miss out on any of the action across the board in the CGL. Don't forget to follow the Twitch for notifications when we go live with some of these last-minute matches, and see you later with NA matches.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through him. It's just going to solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKT, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Laura, is going to be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an athlete immediately to the back. Fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3. So back and forth.